Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV again for a match preview, guys. And we are going to be bringing you more consistent videos moving forward with match previews, match reactions, everything that you want. And they're all going to be live shows for you guys as well. We have got the panel again as well. If you know me before, you know that I've been well, I've got my own channel called GNA TV, but I also have I also tune in and, work with Chelsea Fan TV as well. Guys, it's good to see all of you again, man. I hope you guys are all well, man. We are back. We are ready. We're loaded. You're going to get, it's going to be good. And it's going to be an interesting last part of the season, right? Because we've got so much coming up. We've still got FA Cup, which we're going to be talking about today. We've also got the games left to see if Chelsea can make it into Europe. We've got a lot to speak on today as well. We're not only doing the match preview, we're going to start on with a little bit of transfer news and a little bit of transfer gossip in and around this football club, guys. But do me a favor, make sure you guys are smashing the likes. We've got the panel to join us later as well, guys. And let's cue that intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for this match preview of the semi-final between Chelsea and Man City, guys. And boy, it's good to see a lot of you faces. Nearly 100 people in the building already. Big love to every single one of you that are in here. Guys, like I said to you just now, we will be bringing consistent match previews and match reactions for you. We're also going to be getting into transfers. So all of these are going to be live shows for you guys as well. Live shows, live requests. We're going to be getting into so much in and around Chelsea Football Club. Lots to speak on as well. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. How are you all doing, guys? It feels like it's been a minute, right? It feels like it's been a minute. I'm going to say hello, guys. Do us a favor also. Keep hitting the likes, guys. You need to get the likes up. That will help it flow through the algorithm and then allow us to attract more people in here as well and help the channels grow. Both channels grow. It's very important. Jax, big up, bro. Like you said there, smash the likes. Guys, make sure that you download the Match Bingo app as well, using the link right here as well. If you haven't done already, please do that. They are a partner of Chelsea Fan TV as well, so make sure that you guys get that done, guys, and check it out as well. Gaming for life, how you doing? Good to see you. Dexter, how are you, man? Good to see you as well. Abdul, big up, brother. Nice to see you as well. Tamam, how are we, guys? How are we? Yes, guys. JT, what we saying? What's been going on, bro? Hope you're well. Skills in the building. Chelsea will get battered. Well, people like to say that Chelsea are going to get battered against the bigger clubs, but what's happened this season is a different story. Yeah, we lose to the smaller clubs, the relegation teams, this, that, and the other. But when it comes to the bigger the bigger clubs at the moment, and Chelsea's record or Poch's record against the bigger teams, we haven't done too bad. But the next two big games are very big. Man City in the FA Cup. And then on the back of that, Arsenal, which again we'll get into a match preview as well. Arsenal away in the Premier League, which in all theory, skills, we could completely end your title challenge. And I got to pray that we do. Because we've done it against Tottenham in that time. Wouldn't it be lovely for us to get a draw or even beat them at their own ground and just finish off their title chances? That would be beautiful, guys, beautiful. Damn, my G, big up for real, man. Downsize up on us. Like I haven't seen you in a while, bro. Yeah, no, downsized up. Yeah, honestly, bro, listen, I've just been very busy, mate. Very, very busy. Things have obviously been in the way, but now we're looking to pump out new shows again and be more consistent and build these views up and get ourselves back up to where we were before, guys. We've got we're going to have transfer talks. We're going to have Ben Jacobs. We've got all of these things all happening again very in the near future. So you're going to get a lot of consistent shows, live shows now, guys. We just need you guys to keep smashing the likes here, sharing it out as well. Let people know that we're live so we can work on it. See our Chelsea back after that 6-0 win. I'm going to say we're back. I think we deserve to actually at least have a good win. I mean, you lot have been poor the last 3 games. You've been shocking. In fact, in many ways, you bottled it. Where are you in the table? Have some shame. Why should I have some shame? We've got a chance to be in Europe, potentially. We've got a chance to be in Europe, potentially. Why are you getting so triggered, bro? Because your team's bottling it again. Would you take Kepa back next season? Good question. And it's one that we should obviously talk about because we are going to do a little bit of transfer talk in a minute. We've got Maatsen to talk about in a second. But, you know, there's lots to talk around what do Chelsea need in the summer. Summer's going to be a very big period for Chelsea still. People don't think we're going to do as much work. What I think will happen in the summer is I can see a lot of players being sold, even maybe some starters, which might shock a certain few people. But then on top of that, then once we've done that and we've released the wages, the wage structure and the wage bill, and we've managed to maybe make some sales upon that, I could see us signing a couple of good players. Do I think we'll go and spend 150 million on one player, 110 million on another player? No. But what I do think is that we'll probably will spend, but it will be trying to spend smartly. It just depends if we can get specific individuals that fit the profile of what we're trying to do for the prices we need. And it's going to be a very interesting summer window for Chelsea because I see a lot of people being sold. Can't even beat 10 men Burnley at home. Your point? You got battered by Aston Villa and we beat them. You got battered by Aston Villa and we beat them. We haven't been battered though. You're right. Big up, buddy. Do you know what I mean? He's benched. He's benched for Madrid at the moment, is what Jack says. Chelsea will lose to City and Arsenal. Okay, bro. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's a good chance we might do. In the summer, we need a miracle. Why do we need a miracle, Dizzle? You need to let us know in the chat. Well, how are you feeling about the summer window coming up, guys? Maatsen is probably not a Chelsea player anymore. He's doing amazing for Dortmund. And Abdul, this is where we're going to go to in a second. We've got a couple of feeds to share. Let's start going through some of the bits that I've got, actually. Starting with what's this one? This one. But where is this one? Where is this one? Let's come back out of it. Sometimes it takes me like 2 times to like get it in order. There we go. All right. This is where we start. I want to start with the owners, and I want to start with this competition quickly because we haven't really spoke in a while as well. There's an opportunity for Chelsea Football Club to be entered into the FIFA Club World Cup, which could be a new mini tournament. But every person that participates gets a £50 million participation fee, which is huge. Financially, it's huge. And these are the type of revenue streams that I can see the likes of Todd Bowley and Egbali looking to go down the route of to bring in money. Because let's be serious, we've spent a lot of money. The digits on the accounts will show that we've spent a lot. That's true. We can't ignore that. The difference here right now is how can they recoup and how can they bring different types of revenue through the door? We know Chelsea have already sold 2 hotels to clear to basically abide by the PSR rules, which is what they've done. Yeah, they've brought the debt down from doing that as well by using one of their subsidiary companies to buy the 2 hotels as well, which is allowed. And trust me, Chelsea probably own a lot more properties. This is not just 1 or 2. But we need to receive money from on the pitch, you know, and that's the important thing. You know, this is why entering into like a mini tournament, like a new Club FIFA World Cup tournament would make a lot of sense. And don't be shocked if we did enter into it because I can see it happening. I can see it happening. JT, big up Don. What we saying? Smash the likes, people. Big up Don in the building. Come on, guys. Nearly 100 people in here at the moment. Nearly 100 people. Let's keep tapping the screen, share it out. Cole Palmer hat trick is what we've got here as well. So are you back in Clear Lake again? Bowley in after that 6-0 win. Skills, you're very narrow-minded, aren't you? You're quite narrow-minded and bitter, aren't you? Like, I get it. A little bit like, I get it, bro. Like, you've had to watch your team suffer for 20 years while we've won everything, you know? And I've watched my team win everything. There's not one trophy we haven't won. You can't even win a major trophy in 20, mate. Just stick to your FA Cups, you know? Palmer is a disgrace. He's already got a hat-trick and he tries to fight with Jackson. Yeah, okay. Now you're talking more for. I'm just going to ignore you. It feels like we have a better balance without Enzo, to be honest. That's not true as well. I disagree with that as well, JT. And it's not we have a better balance with Enzo. I actually think if Enzo was in that Everton game that we won 6-0, that he would have just flourished and actually would have probably got a lot from him more in that game. That's the type of game that he would have loved and eaten up, in my opinion. But we move. So yeah, this is one big opportunity that could be falling into the hands of the owners as well. There's also a bit of transfer talk, guys, and it's just little bits and bobs. Obviously, we're not nowhere near the window yet, but there was talks about Thiago Silva leaving the football club and actually going probably like back to Brazil or wherever he wants to go to finish off or retire or whatever he's going to do. But there's slight hints at the moment that Pochettino would like Thiago Silva to stay for one more season. In the case of departure, Pochettino would like an older and more experienced leader, not someone who is really young. That makes sense to me. That does make sense to me. Listen, there's a lot of talks around Thiago Silva not being able to be that guy, be the man. He can't keep playing at the level that we've used him. And to be quite honest with you, we've abused him. We've abused him when it comes to how much we've relied on him at the football club as well. And to be honest, he still is. And I think, we'll go to Ads in a second. I think Ads will agree with me. I think he still is probably our best defender. When you look at it on paper, the Sassy Badiashile, we've not seen enough of Fofana. Colwell's been in and out injured as well. Chalobah's in and out as well. Looks like he's going to be sold. And it makes sense because we don't have that experience. And even if we keep him next season, I don't think we should be playing him every game. It just can't happen. But having him there, for experience and leadership and playing games, because he will still play in games where I think he should play. I think he should be utilised in the right manner. And it wouldn't shock me why Pochettino would still want him here, because we do lack a lot of experience. We do lack leadership. We do lack people that can lead. And he was in the Everton game, 6-0, and we look calm with him at the back. Him and Chalobah actually had quite a good game. And, he brings that calmness. And I know a lot of people he holds the ball up too long. He doesn't play it quick enough. It's true in specific games. But when you're winning games, like we was then, you want someone calm at the back that can take control, not rush, not play balls in quick, just maintain the game well and understand the game well. And he's reading of the game is in defense is the best in our team. Defensively, he reads the game immense, absolutely immense, and he's a top player for us. Ads, how you doing, bro? Good to see you. Couch, big up to you as well. Nice to see you in the chat.
Yeah, I'm well, brother. How you doing?
Yeah, we're not bad. We're back on Chelsea Fan TV now as well, along with our own channel as well. So lots of consistent pushes. I've been having chats with them. So lots of consistent shows and streams are going to be going on from now on. So back to the usual push all the way near the end of the season. But
sounds good.
Yeah, all good. Just talking about a little bit of transfer, and obviously Thiago Silva. There's been talks about him leaving the club. He's leaving. But there's hints that Mauricio Pochettino would like to maybe keep him another season. What's your thoughts on that?
Listen, Thiago Silva's had a great time at Chelsea, all things considered. Obviously, legend of the game, had a great career, the likes of AC Milan, PSG. But never won a Champions League until he came here. And obviously, he came here, was incredible in that season with Tuchel and everything. So, listen, he's done great things here. I felt like this season should have been that season when we transitioned from Thiago Silva, but we pretty much until about February, March, we were playing him pretty much every single game, which at the age of 38 in the Premier League is crazy. So yeah, while he's, again, like he was saying, for me, he is still our best centre back. Which again is more of an indictment on the rest of the guys. But yeah, he's 39 years of age, 38 or 39 years of age. He's putting a lot of time in the game, but I feel like at this point now we should be moving on from him. We should be in a position where we can move on from him, and I'm happy to move on from him. Because he's given enough to us. He's given enough to the game in European football, and if he wants to go back to Brazil and chill, then absolutely he should. So that's what I want. So yeah, I'm happy to see him go. It's just, of course, we need to reinvest properly in that centre back area, because right now we're not looking good there. But also the guys that we have right now, one of them, if not two of them, needs to step up. They need to step up next season.
100%, and that's the real big thing. And when you look at someone like Wesley Fofana that's been out for so long, how does he come back? How will he look? Disassi, maybe with another season under his belt, could improve potentially. Badiashile needs to find some sort of form, because at the moment he's just rocky. Colwell, is Colwell the guy for you? You look at Colwell. Do you think he's someone that could maybe step up if he's played in his correct position?
I think he could be. From what I've seen this season, it's I was confident before the season that he was gonna be the guy. This season, I'm less confident. I'm not saying that I don't think he will be the guy. I still think I think he will, but I'm just less confident in what I've seen this season. And of course, a lot of the season he's played at left back. There's not been as many games at centre back. There's been some good games at centre back when he's played there, in the small sample size that we've seen. There's also been a few shaky ones as well, to be fair. So it's yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting for a lot of these guys, because all of them look like they have the ability to maybe potentially be like the second guy, but none of them look like they're going to be the main guy. Maybe we need to go and sign a main guy to be the leader at the back.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I agree, and I think there's positions that we would. I mean, if you were to pick three positions that you would like Chelsea Football Club to address in the transfer window, what would those three areas be for you, mate?
It's interesting because like a couple of the big ones, striker and DM, we technically like are gonna sign them next
Yeah,
summer. Like this summer within Nkunku and Lavia, they just stay fit. Like those are the signings there in a sense, you know. But despite Nkunku being there, we still need an actual striker, like a proper pure nine. Nkunku for me is more like a second striker. Maybe can play on the 10 or maybe play off the left. So we need a striker for sure. Left back is a big problem area. And I can probably get onto that as well because we have some players on our books that can come in and do a job at left back for sure. Certain ones are in the Champions League semi-final. Again, we will get onto that soon. But yeah, I'll probably say striker. Question mark over left back. We do need a centre back, that's for sure. We need a centre back. So striker, centre back for sure. And oh, I forgot the obvious one. Goalkeeper. We need to sign a goalkeeper.
Yeah. All right, guys. I would probably go with. I think we're going to need to get another. I think we're going to get rid of a centre back this season. I think we go for a centre back. I think we go for a striker, and I think we'll probably go for another midfielder. No,
I hear all that.
but I think we need a left back as well. But it just depends on what we do with Kukurea and Chilwell. If one of them goes, then yeah, we're getting a left back, 100%.
Listen, this summer won't be too dissimilar to last summer where we made a lot of sales. Like we pretty much changed the whole squad last summer, and it's not going to happen again. But there's still going to be a lot of players going out again. We're going to get quite a lot of money in, and even guys on loan like the likes of Lukaku, Ziyech, those guys are going to come back and then go straight away. We're not going to keep those guys, so we're going to get money in. So we're definitely going to have to look to spend in a lot of areas. And listen, we have a lot of left wingers on the roster now, but is Sterling and Mudryk going to stay? Probably one's going to go, more than likely Sterling. So we're going to need a left winger more than likely. So there's a lot that needs to be reinvested in this squad to make it better because we have some good pieces, but we also have a lot of holes in the squad.
And also, I think Dennington says here, let's not forget backup right back for James as another off season. But for me, if Reece James doesn't stay fit for the next season that we come up into, and we're only getting him for 2-3 months of the season, I think we've got to get rid of him. I know people are not going to like what I've got to say, but we can't keep continuing having players in the team that come back and then a month later he's injured again. And yeah, you're right. If Reece James does get injured, we probably will have to look to bring someone in. But I also think we should probably sell him. Real Madrid will have him still. We will still make money on Reece James. But at the end of the day, it just depends on the Reece James that returns back now for me. That's the difference. And if he comes back and he can keep himself fit, I think Poch needs to be clever with him. I think he needs to learn to utilize both of them because we have two top quality, in my opinion, two of the best right backs in the league by far, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. But just on that, though, I think the Reece James discourse is a bit like it's a lot of like foresight, but like we're not there yet. So let's just chill and let's see what he does if he comes back because you've seen a lot of players who have been supposedly injury prone turn it around and whether they have enough time off to let their body heal, whether they get the right surgery and then they're back and are able to play consistently again. Look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's playing almost every single game this season for Milan, just as an example. So we need to just chill on Reece James. And for me, like right back, okay, if he's, let's say, he's only able to play 50% of the games next season, right? That's still a big improvement on this season. So he's probably played like maybe 5%, if that. But obviously, we have Gusto there who hopefully can stay fit. But then for me, we don't need to then buy a third right back. For me, you should have a squad where you have guys who can fill in there, whether it's a centre back who can fill in there. Not that I'd want to spend 150 million on Caicedo to play right back, but we know he can play there. So again, you have these options, and with the right manager, you can make it work with different pieces to fit into the jigsaw.
100%. I think I'm going on that because we need to move and obviously talk about the match preview. I want to talk about another bit of piece of transfer news that we heard about today, and it was from Fabrizio Romano in and around Ian Maatsen. And this is one that I know Ads has wanted to talk about for a while. Chelsea and Ian Maatsen are expected to part ways in the summer, as revealed in March. No changes as Chelsea are planning to make profits on Maatsen. Maatsen wants to play regularly. Borussia Dortmund are very happy with the release clause at 35 million. But there's also talks that there may be other interests from other clubs. Now, the issue that Dortmund have is the release clause is 35 mil, and obviously Maatsen's probably happy there. But if Man United comes along, Chelsea ain't putting him up for 35. He's going to be put up for, I think, 40, 45 mil easily in the way that he's playing at the moment.
Mm.
There will be people bidding for him to go. But the biggest killer in all of this is that our own coach was incompetent to allow a young player like him to at least have some minutes in a position that we were struggling in at the time, and we're playing players out of position, and he just didn't trust him. And the fact that he's now gone over to Borussia Dortmund and he's playing very well there, scored a goal in the Champions League in the semi-final, showing his worth, and now we're looking to sell him. I feels a little bit quite sad, because I don't really think we should be selling these young. Why do we always need to keep spending money to buy when we have such good young players that are available? Give him the time. Yeah, I think loans are good. Yeah, they might not run at Chelsea straight away, but going to a team like Dortmund, who are great at developing players, yeah, like as we can see, why then look to just? I know we've got problems with PSR, and we're trying to make money, and we've got to abide by rules, and we need to sell. I get that, but left back's a big issue for us in the way still, because Ben Chilwell can't do it. Cucurella's had the problems in and out. Having Maatsen there would have been just perfect, really and truly, for that period, and it would have given him the game time as well. And I get the selling from the business side, but from the on the pitch side and what we needed this season, which was balance. And I kept saying we need natural fullbacks, not centre backs playing fullbacks, which was what we've done this season. I feel like we've let him down, but we've also I think Podge has let us down as a club on that. So, I mean, I know Ads has got some certain mindsets on this. So, what's your thought on the potentials of Maatsen going or signing over to Dortmund in the summer?
Yeah, it's there's a lot to unpack there, because there's a lot of different angles that you can look at with this. First of all, there's obviously the coach who has these guys for preseason, and can you evaluate the talent that you have there? Can you evaluate the best use for them, and can you get the best out of them? Or if you choose to not use them, or like maybe you've got better players in the squad, do we see those better players that you so deem perform in that role? And we haven't seen that at left back this season. Like, we just haven't. And again, it's not just Ian Maatsen. It's the likes of Andre Santos, who we decided to, for some reason, to let go on loan to Nottingham Forest. He wasted 6 months there, and then he goes to Strasbourg, and in his first 4 months playing there, he wins Young Player of the Month, and he shows his quality. And again, Ian Maatsen, the most predictable. Like, it was so predictable to me that he was going to go to Dortmund and light it up. Again, Ben Sebaini was AFCON for the month, so Ian Maatsen came in, and he's never looked back since. He's literally he snatched that place from Ben Sebaini, who's a senior player for them, and he's not looked back. He's been excellent for them, absolutely excellent for them. And again, the talent ID from Poch is horrible, because you look at it from our perspective. Not only did we decide to not really use Maatsen, he also let Lewis Hall go to Newcastle. And whenever he's played for Newcastle, he's looked good. Now, people always say to me, oh, but he's not playing week in, week out for Newcastle. And that's because, like everybody should know, it's well documented, they have their financial problems. And they know if they play Hall a certain amount of games, then they're going to be obligated to buy him. And they don't really want to commit to buying him right now, because they have a lot of financial constraints. But again, Newcastle fans, every time they see Hall play, he's looked great. But again, that's Hall. We had Ian Maatsen there. However, we've hardly used him. We've had Chilwell, who's been injured for so long, and we know that the discourse on Chilwell right now, a lot of fans are not convinced by him. You have also Cucurella, who we spent £62 million on, and he's not looking convincing at all either. And yet you've got a homegrown talent here in Ian Maatsen, who is coming off a great season with Burnley, got promoted, left back of the season in the Championship, a physical league. Why not give him a chance to show himself in the Premier League? And again, you look from a tactical point of view, this guy is so versatile. Again, he can play inverted. He's also got the ability to overlap as well. But yet, Poch was playing him at right wing. Like, you hardly gave him any chances to play at fullback. One of the only chances I remember was when he had to come on right wing back against Brighton at home. This was the game where Gallagher got stupidly red carded. And like, we were in the slums at this point, right? But you needed to just get a win by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Last 20 minutes, he came on at right wing back. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Again, Maatsen came on at right wing back to lock up Mitoma. And he did a job, and he helped us see that game out. But was he rewarded with any minutes regularly after that? No, he wasn't. And it's crazy to me that he was treated like this. And again, I'm just happy for the kid himself that was able to go to Dortmund and shine, because I've seen United fans who are only watching Dortmund for Sancho for similar reasons, again, ousted by their club, and they're watching Sancho perform for Dortmund, and they're like, yo, this Maatsen guy's good. That's why he plays for Chelsea. And I'm like, yeah, he does. And we let him go to be playing flipping the Sarsi at left back and Cole at left back and all this nonsense. So it's crazy. Again, it's another reason why me and Poch are scuffing. if I see him on site, because the managing decisions this season have been awful, and that's one of the biggest ones. So again, we'll see what happens in the summer with him. 35 million again is pure profit, which is great. Pure profit is great, but if you're having pure profit in a position and you get that money in, cool. But if you're then playing players who aren't good enough for the club, what does that money mean? Especially when you spent 62 million on Cucurella, it doesn't mean anything to me. So
yeah, and I think that's a real big issue. I think we have overspent on players in previous summer windows, and I think we are suffering a little bit from it. And I think when you look at what we have in house and homegrown, yes, there's that value decorum in them, because you know that you can sell them for profit and a bit of English tax. And someone like Maatsen, Gallagher, a couple of players that have been mentioned are ones that can be used for us to sustain our profitability margins, or get to our profitability margins, is what we need to do. And I get that. But, the issue I have in all of it is, like we just said here, like, he's not really been given an opportunity. It doesn't seem like he's going to be given any real opportunities now in the future. He's took off in Dortmund. He's probably settled himself as a player. He's probably settled there in Dortmund and thought, you know what? This is my home. I'm playing regularly. I'm going to get it here. And there was an actual interview with him. And it was on Twitter. I wish I pull it up, actually. And this is why I was at Dortmund. And he said, I wish I was given the opportunity at Chelsea a bit more. And he's just, given, and he made it very clear he just wasn't getting the game time. He goes, I needed football, and I wasn't getting it. And he goes, he loves Chelsea. He genuinely loves Chelsea. He wants to play for Chelsea. He said, I want to play for Chelsea. But if you've got specific players in front of you, if you've got a manager that doesn't trust you, he doesn't vision you in the team, what are you meant to do? From a business standpoint, it makes sense for us to sell 35 million in the back pocket. Done. That's very good business. Maybe even more if he goes somewhere else. But you look at what we got there and why we're selling in, and you think, well, Chilwell is a bit like James, can't keep himself fit, and then you've got Cucurella, who is just average. He's not great, is he? Let's be serious. He's just, since he's been at Chelsea, he's been average, and he's been giving us average performances. And I don't really know if he's the right left back for us moving forward. I think he'd be a good second left back, but for what we spent of him, he can't be that. He has to play.
Yeah, exactly.
These players are playing because of their price tags all the time, and it's just like, did we need to spend that money? Probably not. Could we have just had Maatsen instead? Yeah. This is where we need the recruitment and the scouts and like everyone to be able to see that the ones that are at this club are maybe needing them just a bit more time or whatever. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see where this club is in the next 2 to 3 years for me, how it's formalized, how it looks. Is it going to be a squad of a bunch of players that we just pump tons of money in, which gives you that sniff of Roman Abramovich style-esque? Or is it going to be is it going to be a squad where we spent bits of money here and there, but predominantly been built around, players that are in around or coming through Chelsea or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or we've got good little deals on or whatever. That's the question mark. I think we'll have to see in the next 2 to 3 years' time. Tob says all we want to see is the same team. That'd be Everton. No more Gallagher, Cam, or left wing. Play him central midfield and we win. Yeah, we're going to talk about the game now in a second. Obviously, we spoke about Maatsen. I've got one more bit of transfer news that I want to just quickly highlight, and it's the where is it? Why does it do this? I hate when it does this. I can't find it. It's there. Can I see it? Right, there we go. It's this little bit of comments. That's what I'm going to call it. Talk in around Victor Osmin. How do you even say his surname? Osimhen.
Osimhen.
Okay, there we go. Victor Osimhen. There we go. Victor Osimhen. Okay, Chelsea have already started discussions with Napoli for Victor Osimhen, but they are moving slowly. And these are comments that say from caught offside, but this is supposedly Fabrizio Romano's quoted words, which is what they've used here as well. We know that we need a striker. The availabilities of him is there. Apparently, Arsenal pulled out of this. I don't know how true that is. There's Gyökeres. I don't even know how to say his name as well. Gyökeres, the guy from where is he? Atlanta.
Sporting Lisbon. You're talking about Gyökeres.
That's it.
Or Gyökeres. Again, there's different pronunciations of it, but yeah.
There's also talks around Ivan Toney being available for around 40 million all in as well, which is another interesting topic. There's also talks about the potentials of an Ollie Watkins as well being bought for God knows how much. I don't know what his market value would be. I'd have to check that in a bit. But Ollie Watkins being available, maybe looking for maybe a bigger move as well. The striker area is a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because, you know, a lot of people will say this guy. Some others will say, well, he's not polished enough for 130 million. There's parts of his game he needs to work on. We need something else. Others might want Tony. Some I've seen have said Sesko, who I've watched and I'm not that fond of, I'll be quite honest with you, and Kakares. You know, Watkins has popped up as well as being Premier League proven. What's your thoughts in and around the striker area? There is some good options there, but who would be your sort of go-to guy, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, first things first, we have to understand what we're trying to do, right? And again, like we have to understand like what manager we're gonna get in, like what the sporting director wants. Like for me, like we should have a clear understanding of how we want to play based on the sporting director. We need to get in a manager that fits that philosophy, and then we need to get the right pieces that fit that manager and what they want and what our style of play is going to be. Are we a team that wants to whip a lot of crosses into the box? Are we a team that wants a striker to maybe have a bit of hold up play, a bit more? Do you want a striker that just wants to run in behind a lot? Like we have to look at all these things and then pick the best striker. Unfortunately for me, I think a lot of people like are saying otherwise, but I actually think that the striker market this summer is actually pretty decent. Like I think there's a lot of good options out there and a lot of variety in the options that are out there as well. You have
quality levels, you think
quality and proven level is questionable for sure.
Yeah.
But again, we're not in a position where we can just go and buy the best striker on the market, which technically would be Mbappe, right? Or of course he could obviously play left wing, but like that's the best striker on the market. But are we in the market to go and get him? No, he's going to go to Real Madrid. But again, if you just really look at the names that are potentially available, Osimhen, Tony, Gio Keres, potentially Solanke, who came through at Chelsea, Ollie Watkins, of course Isak. Isak's the one I was actually been highest on for the longest out of all of these guys, ironically, like top level striker. But for me, I just look at the injury record and it doesn't leave me with a lot of confidence. But that said, talent-wise, he's got the best goal per minute ratio in the Premier League in terms of strikers, and in terms of like his link-up ability, holding up play as well. Like he's top, man. I love Isak, but again, to get him out of Newcastle, who to be fair are looking to sell players by. If you listen and believe everything that you're seeing in terms of media reports, Isak is an interesting one as well. But yeah, there's options out there for sure. But again, it just for me comes down to what manager we're going to bring in and how they want to play, because we've seen it with Lukaku and Werner, who yes, they had their limitations, and ultimately what they did in the Chelsea shot wasn't good enough anyways to be given a lot of like, oh, they only failed because of how the team was around them. No, they also failed because they were just straight up poor. They went up to the level like what they've shown in previous clubs. However, you have to also ask the question: did we play to their strengths? Did we play enough balls in behind to Werner? Like, no, we didn't. There were a lot of times where Werner's making the run, and then we had midfielders who were turning back on it or just going out wide and playing the safe pass. So we didn't do that. When it came to Lukaku, we know he's a guy who needs service. We know that, but yeah, we didn't feed him with a lot of service. So we do need to sell him as well, by the way, and get some money back for him.
Sell him.
So again, like, this is whole, like, we've seen you need to still play to striker strengths. Like, we're looking at Haaland right now at Man City. Who are they playing to his strengths? Not necessarily. Now, obviously, he's still a top striker. He's still going to get you his goals, but they're not really playing to his strengths. So we're not seeing the same Haaland that we saw at Dortmund. So all these things you have to take into account before you buy who you want to buy, because there are a lot of strikers out there who are getting a lot of goals.
100%. And it's again, what do we need and how does it fit our profile? I saw talks about Musiala potentially being an option for Chelsea, and the first thing I said was, why? Like why are we looking at that position specifically right now? Yeah, it would be nice, Palmer, Musiala, and Kunku, and then a striker up front. But Musiala is going to cost you 140 million. It don't make sense in terms of profile of player and what we need. And I keep saying it. We've done the same thing when we bought Lukaku back then, and I was arguing with 90% of this fan base about it. And they were saying we just need him. He scores goals. He's quality. He's a top goal scorer in Europe. How can you not want him? One season, smashed it. And I said, I don't think he fits Tuchel's profile of what we're trying to do. I just don't think he will do the hard work off the ball. I don't think he will link play well enough. And yes, he scored goals. Don't get me wrong. He scored goals here and there. You would expect that a little bit. But you know, he didn't fit the overall balance of the squad, even though the balance of the squad was crap anyway, with the amount of different type of profile players we bought. But it didn't work. And my only real worry with the striker position going into this summer window is finding the right profile rather than just looking at the stats, yeah, and going, oh, he's top goal scorer in Europe right now. He's hot. We just need to get him. It's, you know, it's more, and they talk about data analytics and doing all of their checks and whatever. So you think there'll be a lot more technical with the decisions when looking for a striker. But I don't know. Like, he's going to be obviously up there anyway, and I think it sounds like he you know, he likes the idea of being in London, playing for the potentially Chelsea and stuff, and I get all that. But I try and think of what this player can do and what he can offer and what we have currently at the moment and how it can work, how we can bring the balance together stronger so that we're more consistent, that we're now creating, even though we're creating, we're now converting, you know, and this individual is able to do other bits to, you know, or have other bits to his games as well. And if Nkunku can stay fit, yeah, and you get yourself a top quality striker, you've got yourself two killers in the box. That will be completely different type of Chelsea when we are creating, because you will see a better conversion. And people like Palmer, who are second highest assisters in the Premier League at the moment, you know, or joint second highest assister in the Premier League, will then have even more, you know, even more.
That's what I love about Palmer as well. His creativity.
Yeah.
And he should have had more assists.
He should do. So, you know, it's picking the right person. You know, I've always been very big for Ivan Toney, just because, and it's not because I think he's a great out and out goal scorer. I think he can score goals, and I think he would score more in a team that creates more, who dominates more. I think he would fit the bill in terms of the creative side, the linking up side, the being able to hold the ball and be, you know, just occupied defenders, which means that people like Palmer or Mudryk or Nkunku can, you know, dip in behind. And these are all things I look at when it comes to thinking of a striker, not just get in the box, bang, which is what we need. We need that killer instinct. We want goals, and I think he would do it still. It's just what else they can do for the team, if that makes sense. And like what Forward said or Ad said, is the type of manager we've got as well. So I get Watkins as well, by the way, a little bit, and Isak's another one I think is good as well. I think Watkins is good, but I just don't know if he's. I'd choose Tony over him still, but I don't know what you guys think on that.
I think Watkins is a very good transitional striker. Like, his hold up play has gotten better this season in terms of, actually no, it's not his hold up play, his link up play has gotten better this season, working off the likes of DRB and Bailey. But yeah, I just feel like I'd want somebody who's got a bit of a better technical base, because for the players that we have, regardless of who the manager is next season, again, people are saying that Poch will stay, not based on what they want. I hope, at least. I hope people understand Poch isn't good enough, you know. But maybe this board will still allow him to stay, which I would hate, right? But I feel like regardless of Poch staying, and let's say he wants to play this transitional game or whatever, like, we still have a lot of technical players who I feel like would benefit of having a striker who can hold it up, but then also link play, get others involved. Because you saw it with Lukaku, like. We don't run that kind of striker where they don't have the ability to link up. It's like, it's not good, especially when you got players like, especially Palmer trying to run off and make things happen. I mean, Nkunku, if he was to stay and plays as a turn, not stay, but like actually stay fit, that would be a big thing, you know. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Again, there's options out there. There's a lot of options out there.
Before we go to Xavi, guys, and get his thoughts on it, that has just come back to me as well. Obviously, we lost a big supporter of Chelsea Football Club, someone that was passionate, someone that was a very interesting character, a very nice person, by the way. I've actually been on live with him as well, and spoke to him off air as well. Angry Rantman passed away, which everyone's heard the news all across Twitter. And yeah, RIP to Angry Rantman. What a guy, what a legend. Big up to him, man. It's very, very sad news. He was still very young as well. And my thoughts,
only 27.
My thoughts are with his family and everything as well, man. But yeah, everyone, RIP. RIP's in the chat, guys. RIP's to Mr. Rantman, guys. Thoughts are with his family. But Xavi, just talk, obviously, before we get into the game, we're just quickly talking about the striker area. It talks about Victor Osimhen being someone that could be at the club still. Chelsea are working a bit slowly on him as well, but there's other names that have been linked as well. I mean, what's your thoughts on the striker position, mate? Who are you looking for?
We need a striker, guys. There's no if and buts about it. The profile of striker is important, like you said. And My fault. My kid is. I
That's all
gotta
right.
put Miss Rachel on him for the background. I think we need someone who is involved in the game, regardless if we're not creating chances for him. Like I don't know, Chelsea always survived off of that striker, that like at the Costas, the Drogbas. I mean, I think now we've kind of changed into where we're creating a bit more. So we got Palmer. We're adding creativity. We're creating a high profile number of chances, but I still want a striker. Like, how do I explain it? Like someone like Tony, that even if he's not, even if he's not scoring, he's occupying those defenders. You know, can lead the line by himself,
Yeah.
basically. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for. Osimhen, like, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, no. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I know he bangs. I feel like if we have the right group around him, like, I feel like so much of our strikers have flopped because our structure around wasn't right. We didn't create a lot of chances, and we struggled. We struggled with that for years. Let's be honest. Like, creativity and creating clear cut chances for our strikers. That's why only the Drogba's and the Costa survive. But yeah, I feel like he would suit us way better than Usherman. But Usherman is still a goal scorer at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if you provide him the chances, he will score goals. But
Yeah.
I'm in more favor of like a guy like Tony because our Gokras, because they're still involved in the game, you know?
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. All right, guys, we're going to move away from transfer news for now. We will be doing a lot more of it. Trust me, we're going to be getting Ben Jacobs on as well to talk a bit about the financial side of Chelsea as well, from what we've been hearing at some point. And yeah, lots of transfer news. We're going to have a busy summer, guys. It's going to be a very busy channels for both channels. Really, we're going to be alive a lot more, bringing in news over the summer period once we get there. But first of all of that, guys, we've got a lot of stuff going on the pitch. And we do have the match against Man City in the semi-finals of the FA Cup at Wembley again tomorrow. And it's going to be Chelsea's, is it 30th time at the stadium? Let's have a quick look. Yeah. Saturday will be the 30th time Chelsea have visited the new Wembley. This is more than any other side in that time. Neutral venue only. Another big semi-final to come up against Man City as well. On the back of this, before we get into we're going to do a quick lineup and stuff as well. There was talks around how Chelsea played against Everton, and there was this comment here that Alice thought the game against Everton was very good, and the club has taken note of how much the attacking numbers have improved compared to Potter. Some Chelsea takers have asked for more consistency to show what they can do on a more regular basis. The club is hopeful of a better T6, T7 period as well. Which will again goes back to him being a bit more consistent. When it comes to team news, we've not had the press conference yet, but one thing that did pop up today is this picture of him smiling. Mr. Reece James is back and he is training, and whether he's going to make it back in time for this game, I probably highly doubt it. However, will he be making some appearances at the near to the end of the season? That could happen. Good to have Reece James back, as we already know. Madueke also with Pochettino as well, working towards their game at Wembley as well, which is tomorrow. Can't show that, which is tomorrow. And then there's this question mark. And the one real question mark at the moment is, and we all know and we've heard the news about, is Enzo Fernandez, who at the moment is suffering from a hernia issue. Apparently he's been having injections most of the season to just play for us at the moment as well. And it seems that apparently Pochettino is still unsure on whether he should bring Enzo Fernandez back in the starting 11 against Man City, and hasn't decided until tomorrow. This, we've not had any confirmation on press conferences or anything as of yet. Will Enzo feature? We'll see. So if he doesn't, then there's a good chance Gallagher will play in the pivot again with Caicedo, and we could maybe see the same sort of lineup as we saw against Everton up against Man City, which could be interesting. And this is where I throw it to the guys, because it's a big game tomorrow. Pochettino is in his, when you look at this season and how he set us up against the bigger teams, has always gone a little bit more defensive with the three in the midfield: Enzo, Caicedo, Gallagher. Do you feel that? Let's go with Couch first, because he said, Couch, big up, bro. How you doing? You all right? See you.
Yeah. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. We can hear you.
Big
In
up,
regards to
brothers.
tomorrow's game, in
Big
regards
up,
to
bro, man. Big up.
in regards to tomorrow's game tomorrow, bro, do you see Poch forcing Enzo Fernandez back in the team along with Caicedo and Gallagher, or do you think there might be maybe a stubbornness to stick to what we've done against Everton with the 2 in the midfield and maybe a Palmer in the 10 and just literally have a go at them?
You know how I stay. I'm always about horses for courses. The game against Everton is nothing close to what you're going to get against Man City.
Yeah.
Nothing close. And to assume that just because it worked against Everton is going to work against Man City is a fool's trait. To assume that you can play the same tactics and get the same results. It's just not the same game at all. The Everton game, I mean, it was evidenced at the halftime when they switched their entire midfield because they're getting blown apart in the middle. That's not going to happen against Man City, regardless of who play. So we're going to need people that are good on the ball. We're going to be able to have people that can transition, get out and run. I would think that if Enzo's fit, he comes back into the side. The question we have to ask is whether or not he's fit. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true that he is. Sure, he's training, but like Wembley's one of the biggest pitches in the world, and there's going to be a lot of ground to cover. Can he make up the distances and whatnot? That's the question I think we need to ask before we start thinking about styles of play and what we want to do. Is can he be fit enough to play on that Wembley pitch right now? It's still up in the air for me.
Well, apparently he's just had the same issue all season with the hernia. He's actually just been having injections and he needs an operation. Surgery will give him a 2 weeks out, about 3 weeks out, apparently, from doing that. The timing of it's probably the critical bit. Do they wait till the end of the season and just keep him in the team and then get him to do it? Obviously, it's Copa America at the end of this season as well, which may be playing on the mind of both the country and himself. But yeah, I think we've not had the press conference from Poch yet, and it will probably be one of the questions that's asked. But I mean, talking about Man City quickly forward, I mean, they got knocked out of the Champions League. They still look like Man City, in many ways. I mean, how do you think they're going to approach us tomorrow? Do you think they're just going to do their typical same setup? Is there a chance maybe Pep might complicate it again and maybe just leave Rodri on his own in midfield and maybe like a De Bruyne and I don't know, someone else and go quite attacking? How do you feel that they're going to approach the game tomorrow against us?
Well, for a start, I did watch the Champions League exit against once I got a call coming in.
You've gone a bit quiet, is it me? Can you hear him?
Is it me or is he low?
Yeah, he sounds low, yeah.
It's low.
Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Yeah, sorry, I had a call coming in. So technically on the clock, but we're working through it. But no, yeah. So I did watch the City game midweek. I did watch the Champions League exit, and yeah, happy to see that they're still only on one Champions League. We have one more. Courtesy of beating them in the Champions League final. Just had to get that in. But no, listen, for this game, it's Pep and it's Man City. They're still the best team in the world. That doesn't change based on losing to Real Madrid on penalties. They're a top team. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do because obviously they've gone to 120 minutes. There's only a 2-day recovery in between. And there's supposedly some injuries. So we'll see how they set up. I expect rotation, but I don't think that's a positive for us because I feel like the players that are going to be taken out have been a bit of a detriment to them in recent games. And I could see the likes of Alvarez coming in up front. I could see potentially Doku starting. I can see a few things going on. Maybe even Foden starting in the 10 compared to being out wide. So it's going to be interesting, right? Because when we played them twice this season, Alvarez has started but in midfield, and I feel like we were able to benefit from that because I don't think he's great in that midfield role. And again, those games, we obviously competed well, which gives me confidence, right? I don't see us getting absolutely destroyed, right? I feel like we're going to be competitive. I think there's a very good chance we're competitive. However, it's very difficult to get over the line in a big game when you haven't got the experience, you haven't got the proven consistent match winners. Because again, we've seen all season, we've lacked in terms of cutting edge. Yes, we scored more goals than last season, which is great, but in terms of reliable clinical efficiency in front of goal, we don't have that at a great level. Other than Cole Palmer, who again, he's been doing his thing, fair play. But other than him, there's nobody that we can rely upon to say that he's definitely going to bag if a chance comes. And obviously in defense, we've had a lot of big mistakes. So that obviously it's something we have to take into consideration. And obviously the Enzo conversation is a very interesting one because we've gone into every single big game this season having Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher available, and they've started every single big game this season. Of course, on the other side of that, we've not had any other midfielders available, so we've always had to use those guys. And now with Enzo not available, it's not like Ugo Chiku's back or Lavi is suddenly fit. No, it's just Gallagher and Caicedo. And if we're gonna start with just them two, and then you start an attacking front four again, like Couch said, you can't compare the Everton game and say that, oh, that front six worked great. Even if Enzo's fit, let's going to keep him on the bench. Like, that front six worked against Everton, so he's going to do the same against City. No, it's a completely different game. Like, a lot of this game is going to be played in our half. So going to have to look at, obviously, the transition. Where is best to put Palmer, which again we'll talk about if we're going to put Palmer false nine, or do we want him to be more involved in the game? So we're going to play him on the right again. Then what does that leave Noni Madueke, who for me has been the most impressive winger of our three, with him, Sterling, and Mudryk. So it's interesting. There's a lot of things that we're going to have to talk about and discuss in terms of how we set out. But certainly, I think we're going to have to do two lineups: one with Enzo and one with Enzo available and what we would select, and then one we would select if Enzo is deemed not fit.
Okay, interesting stuff. And if he isn't fit, and we're going to do one now anyway, we'll do both actually. It'd be interesting to know. I mean, before we go into that, Xavi, big game tomorrow. How do you think Chelsea beat City tomorrow?
Well, it's probably going to be in transition. We're not dominating the ball against City is hard. You know what I mean? They're like the masters of it. They control the game, the tempo. But at where City have been weak, and I've seen that Real Madrid game, is when they turn the ball over. For some reason, they seem this year to send out. I mean, they've been doing it, but I feel like they're not as good as recovering. You know, you can play through their press better. And on transitions, we have the guys of like Jackson. Same how we played that Etihad at the Etihad. I feel like we should kind of go for that. You know, try to be more brave, at least a little bit more brave. It's the FA Cup, but if we're gonna beat them, it's definitely on the transition. Like when they're attacking and establishing that territory dominance.
If it's on the transition, do you not think we then need the pace? And with the pace, you're going to need Jackson leading the line, and then
Jackson is playing for me regardless. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's no way you're sitting Jackson.
Jackson. And to me, it's the only like. All right, regardless of how you feel, Gallagher does a job on. We're gonna need to take Rodri out the game. Like that's key.
Can Palmer do that if he plays in the 10?
In the 10, Palmer is good off the ball, but it's like you need the legs that Gallagher has. You know what I mean? And you don't want our best players to be so occupied on marking Rodri out the game, because that kind of takes away from his game. We kind of need him in those moments.
Am I mistaken in thinking that the last game we played against City, Rodri wasn't playing? And they
he was
in the midfield.
He scored against us.
He scored, didn't he? He's there.
Oh, that's right. Because I remember they played with Akanji in the midfield that game, right?
Yeah, well, they've got Walker, Akanji, Diaz, and Ake as their back four. But Akanji wasn't. No, it was Rodri, Foden, De Bruyne, Alvarez, Doku, and Haaland. That was their front. Us, on the other hand, was Disasi, Colwill, Chilwell, Gusto as a back, and then Caicedo, Enzo, Gallagher, Palmer. Sterling was on the left, and Jackson up front. Sterling scored, if you remember.
And that game was at the Bridge, right?
No,
I can't remember, man. And we got the draw. We both drove the 1-1 was I think we had it better control because we were defending well. I just think we went too defensive too early. I mean, they were, let's be honest, City always threaten you and push you back. But like the moment we went 5, we invited even more pressure, and then Rodri scored, Right. But that was the game we're talking about, how Gallagher kept Rodri quiet. Right. So you just stuck on him the entire game. Like, I remember that. I did a match review for that. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah,
because it basically that tactic forced them to use other guys to
play around him. Yeah.
Right. So none of those guys were capable.
No.
Well, no. Well, my next question to you guys would be, and again, we'll do two. We'll do a 4-3-3, and then we'll do a 4-2-3-1 lineup going into the game tomorrow. Now, defensively, we saw Thiago Silva and Chalobah against Everton. Now, it's a little bit different when you're up against Haaland, isn't it? So I would ask you, Cucurella's playing. Do we agree? Even though Chilwell's fit, I think that's probably going to happen, isn't it? If Cucurella is starting on the left, do we agree?
I'm leaning towards starting Chilwell, you know, I can't lie. I think just for the centre backs that I'm probably going to choose, I feel like Chilwell's extra height would help. And listen, Cucurella has been okay or recent, better, but I still worry about him defensively. And I have a feeling that potentially Doku. Oh, for sure. Like, again, people make it out that Cucurella's bad defensively and Chilwell's good. Like, no, Cucurella for me is bad, and Chilwell isn't near the levels that he was under Tuchel. Nowhere near the levels before the injury. So again, I worry about both, but I just feel like with Chilwell's extra little bit of athleticism, which he still has left even after the injury, plus the aerial ability, I feel like that can help us, because I don't see us being on the ball as much. But at the same time, against City with their press, again, we're not Man United, right? Man United, when they went to Etihad, they just literally parked the bus. There was no trying to play out through the press. We will try and do that, and Cucurella is better at doing that than Chilwell. So I wouldn't be mad if Cucurella started. I'm leaning towards Chilwell, but again, if you guys would say Cucurella will start, then I'm not too mad at it.
The reason why I can't see Chilwell is like we're playing at Wembley. He's been off for how many weeks now? You're gonna start him at Wembley against Man City when he hasn't played for what, more than a month? It just doesn't make sense.
No, he's come back and played a couple games off the bench, but you're right, it is only off the bench compared to starting.
Yeah, and even still, he wasn't even playing wasn't he playing left wing the last game he came in? It just seems like it's not the right game to give him a full start. You know, it would make sense in a lesser match at this point in time. If he would have started last game, I probably would have been more inclined to give him those minutes, but you're not going to put him in at Etihad against like these difficult wingers and whatnot, and just like the setup in itself, and expect him to, perform well for you. I'm just thinking more of the psychology of the game, more so than like what, who I'd rather have and who I wouldn't want to have,
Yeah. Just to add to that, listen, I'm happy with Cucurella being there. I think that's who will start anyways. I think Poch will pick Cucurella. I was just more going off the fact that again, I think his skill set maybe suits this game a bit better. Plus the two games that we did play against them this season, which we can look at, Cucurella started at home, and not just because we conceded 4-4, he was worse, but I just felt like he struggled a lot, especially when Haaland did go over to that side. He didn't look great, and I thought Chilwell, to be fair, at Etihad, I thought he had a pretty good game, to be honest. We had a pretty good game, but you're right. Cucurella probably will likely most likely will start, and yeah, he's in a rhythm. He's in okayish form, so yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I got an assist last game too, right? Something like that. So we'll see.
Got a couple assists lately. Yeah, won a penalty. Yeah, been doing all right.
The matchup for me is more in the middle. Like who do you see as being the two center backs that we go to nullify what they do well, playing through those channels, controlling the tempo in that, that final third, and really playing at a tempo that most defenses cannot cope with, right? So that's the word for me. Overrunning a certain area of the pitch and whatnot. That's basically where I'm most concerned. And like that center back pairing has to be right. I don't know what you guys think. Are we guaranteed to play with a back four?
This is something else I was thinking about, because I'm thinking if Enzo isn't fit, like we're not gonna throw Cassidy in. I just don't see it. Right. So we're gonna have to have Gallagher playing in the 6, but then he's gonna do the Gallagher role on a Rodri, and I feel like playing a front four of including Modric and a Noni and one wing, Palmer, 10, Jackson is attacking, but the defensive cover isn't the greatest. So I would probably be looking at maybe going to a back 5, but have we seen a lot of that? Not really. So it's an interesting one, but it's something definitely to consider. I think Poch definitely will consider it. He's not going to just like not put into the biggest game of the season at this point. He's going to obviously consider things. So we'll see. But on the centre back, I don't know what Xavi thinks on this as well. But like for me, Chalobah would not even have come into my consideration before the Everton game, because he's had some decent-ish games, but I still feel like there's a bit of defensive frailty, not great in the air. I feel like these are weaknesses that he has, but he was solid in the air against Everton. Like we did concede a lot of set pieces, like from free kicks and corners, and he actually defended very well, and played some good offside traps as well. Defended the front post quite well at times. So I thought he overall had a very solid game. So I would consider him. But then you look at the Sarsi, who I believe is fit. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he is fit. And we saw how good a game he did have at the Etihad. And obviously, he's a good box defender. he has the physicality to go up against a Haaland if he does start, because I think there's a chance that Alvarez does start this game. But we know that Haaland struggles against those physical centre backs. So it's we do have options there. But again, for me, I think the one person who has to start is Thiago Silva, because for me it's almost an own goal. You're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't start your most experienced player in a game like this at Wembley against City, when for the most part we're going to defend not in a low block, but we're going to defend quite deep and be compact. So I feel like that minimizes the weaknesses that Silva has with his mobility. And again, his experience is that you can't quantify, you can't put a price tag on the experience that he's going to have and how much of a value that's going to be to this young team at Wembley against the best team in the world. So I think we're going to need that.
Yeah, when you talk about defending deep, like, it's not because we're going to be setting up a low block. It's basically because we're going to be pressed back. We're not going to be able to basically thrust as many body forwards as we want. We're going to be in a position where City are going to control the game with us sat back deep. And to your point, I agree. I don't think that in that setup, like the worry I have with Chalobah, I thought he had a good game against Everton, for the reasons you said. Very good in the air, snuffed out most of the danger, played some good traps. We talked about it in the chat too, like just the one where I think Beto scored and he held a good line there.
That was a great line.
Yeah, but I think my worry in games like this is concentration and composure, and that's always been his Achilles heel. Always has a mistake in him, and when you're going to be put under that much pressure for as long as you are against a team like City, I worry about him in those positions. I'm not going to lie. But to your point though, I worry about that with every one of our center backs not named Thiago Silva. So it's like
you see with Chalobah, coach, like, it's the fundamentals for me sometimes where, like, you should be clearing it with your foot and he's going down for a header, or like going to ground when you should be standing on your feet. That is not necessary. You know what I mean? Stuff like that I worry about, which is that whether it's down to concentration, where I just think it's just fundamentals. But I don't know. I don't know about this to parent. I just know I do want Silva in the game. Like, I think.
Oh, that goes without saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry.
Go ahead. I'll be back, guys.
No worries. I mean, listen. I've just seen something in the chat which it's not triggered me, but I'm thinking like, I don't like. Okay, so Jared just said in the chat, Cucurella's way better defensively than Chilwell. What's this bloke talking about, right? Like, again, for me, when I look at Cucurella defensively, especially on the wing, like 1v1 defending on the wing, he struggles a lot with any fullback that goes at him directly. Now, again, that wasn't the questions asked of him against Everton because it was Ashley Young playing on the wing, which almost never happens in 2024. So he's not going to test you in the way that he would have done 10 years ago, right? So I just struggle with him if he was to play against Doku, because we have seen Doku at times come on and play on the right just for little portions of the game. And Doku will cook Cucurella. I have no doubt about that. Again, like I mentioned earlier, Chilwell isn't great defensively either. He's not shown that consistency that he had under Tuchel when he won the Champions League. But I don't know what you think, Couch. If you think one's certainly better than the other defensively, and also what you think of Cucurella 1v1.
I mean, this goes kind of like dovetails off the striker debate. And we're talking about bringing in the striker. It sounds like what we're saying is any striker will do, and I'm not necessarily of that mindset, but in terms of like left back position right now, none of them are good enough. You're basically just going on whoever's most informed, like who is informed at this point in time, right? And just hoping that they are mistake free at this point in time. But it's pick your poison. I don't necessarily think that whether or not you play Cucurella, he's going to be better defensively, because I feel like sometimes when he's in that position, he doesn't know. He has no spacing. He doesn't understand like the spacing that you need to defend it correctly. He's getting too touch tight, and then he doesn't have the makeup speed to get back into position, right? And often mistimes his tackles or mistimes his approaches to close space and whatnot, and he's just getting caught. He gets caught out time and time again. With Chilwell, I just think that he gets dribbled past so easily. So easily. Like, it's like, okay, lets in a lot of crosses. It's just,
are we agreeing
I don't
on
know.
this? Are we agreeing on this?
Yeah, we
Oh, that
decided on
also doesn't-
Cucurella and Thiago
yeah.
Silva, and then we were just debating between Chalobah, who obviously was great against Everton, versus the Sarsi if he's fully fit. And I'm gonna give my vote, and I'm gonna actually say Chalobah should
I
start.
think he's
If we're
going to.
gonna,
I don't think he's going to start him though. I think he's going to start Disassi personally. I think you're going to see a Silva and Disassi back too.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that if
yeah, I think he probably would pick him.
we also mentioned that there is a potential to go with a back three in this game. Soak up pressure for the first few minutes of the game and whatnot, possibly for the first.
Yeah, especially if Enzo isn't fit.
Especially
You
if
guys
Enzo
think that's
isn't fit.
wise though?
Well, what are you going to do in the midfield if Enzo isn't fit?
I personally think if Enzo's fit, he's gonna go with that same pivot, which I don't have a problem with. I just think when we randomly play the back three, we just struggle positionally playing out.
It'll be a back four. It'll be
I think it's counterintuitive because it's you kind of don't want to start the game like that.
I disagree. I mean, I disagree just for the fact that if you set up right in the back three, it can work great. Listen, if you set up a bad back three and it becomes a back five and it's awful. But again, for me, I look at our. But the thing is, for me, I look at our outlets, right? One of our best attacking players is Gaston. If you free him up on to be a right wing back, and he has a bit more freedom to journey attack and get forward, that's a really good outlet for us on that right wing. And then also frees up Cole Palmer to play like a right 10, which again, you free him up in a bit of a half where it's difficult for him to be picked up. Where if he plays right mid or as just a proper number 10, it's a bit easier to mark Palmer. But he's in that half space constantly, then it's harder for him to be trapped. What are you saying, bro?
What you're saying is true. I think my thing about it is we haven't played it enough or drilled it enough. What we just do think we tried it at Brentford for me and it didn't work. I can see if we consistently played that throughout the season, but when we just want to do this against City, I think it's not a great idea to just try it against City. You know what I mean? Just to do it.
I hear you on that, and I wouldn't do it if Enzo's fit. But if Enzo isn't fit, what's the alternative? What would your alternative be if Enzo isn't fit?
For me, I'll play Caicedo and Gallagher in the midfield.
We'll get to that in a second. But I just want to know, are we playing Disassi here so that I can just put this in quickly? So is it Disassi, yeah?
I would put Chalobah, but I think going with Disassi is fine though. And I think that's what Poch will end up doing, to be honest.
That's what I think he'll do. So then we say there is the free and Enzo is forced back in. Is it just the usual midfield free? Yeah. Yeah,
although obviously we know how we've been setting up in the big games a lot. It's kind of like that 4-4-2 off the ball. But obviously, I guess you can just go for 4-2-3-1, which will be Caicedo and Enzo sitting, and then Gallagher in that 10.
Yeah, 4-2-3-1.
Basically, yeah.
But then Haley's 4-2-3-1s. They're so crazy.
No, is it that?
It's
maybe go with the 4-2-3-1, which has the wide, the left mid and right mid.
That's it, I think.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, like that.
And then, okay, that makes sense. That speaks for itself, I think, in the free. But then, who's your front? Obviously, Palmer's on the right. That's not even a discussion. Jackson's up front. That's not even a discussion. But who occupies the left for you guys? Because there could be Mr. Raheem back again, who scored against City last time. And he's probably good on the. Sterling, I think. Sterling is one of them guys, I think, that in the way that we're going to try and play against Man City, he's probably better equipped in running in behind and then putting it in the back of the net. I don't know if Mudryk can do that yet in terms of how Sterling does it. It might. I don't know if you understand that in any way.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Listen, for me, this is such a tactical conundrum for me because our best front four right now on form for me would be obviously starting Gallagher, just because we know we can do a good job against Rodri, and we need his legs in these big games, right? But for me, our best other three attacking players right now is Palmer, Jackson, and Madueke. But you've just not really seen Madueke play off the left. I know he did that in his time in the Netherlands, so I know he's capable of doing it, but I just don't know if he's going to do that in this game. Gallagher on the left, again, there's managers you can get midfield players to do a job on the left. I've just not seen it with Poch and Gallagher. And when we saw it against Sheffield United, again, the worst team in the league, it looked horrible. So I don't think that's going to happen. And I feel like you can technically, if you want to start Madueke, start him on the right and then play Palmer false 9, which has had some joy this season. But I don't think this is the game to do it because we want Palmer to be involved. And I remember the Anfield game where Palmer was false 9, and obviously that was another game where we were just penned in. He got no joy, no service, no joy. He was not in the game, and it just stank. It just stank. So to be on the left. The only thing with Mudryk, like, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but to start Mudryk in this kind of game, yes, there'll be spacing behind, so he can use his pace, cool. But we're gonna need somebody who can like retain the ball well when he gets it, not lose it sloppily in areas.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if I can trust him in a game of this magnitude to start. Maybe to come off the bench and be an impact player, but to start on the left against Walker, like, I don't know, man. Because we saw what Walker did to Vinny in the week, like, and that was Walker off of a bit of a layoff and injury. He came back and he pocketed Vinny whenever they had 1v1s. It was crazy. So I don't know what you guys are saying for the
Sterling
left.
seems to get the best change out of Walker. I don't know why, bro.
Yeah, he has this
maybe
season,
because
but
he played,
yeah.
this season, like maybe because they played together and training so much, he knows Walker's tendency. But the thing about Sterling right now, he's coming off of the flu, hasn't played. Is he gonna, you know what I mean, or are you just gonna chuck him back
What would
in
you do
there?
then? What would you do? Mudryk. Is that what we're saying?
We have to go with one of Mudryk, Madueke, or
gosh.
Sterling.
I mean,
So-
Mudryk versus Carl Walker on the right. I mean, Sterling, to be fair to him, at the Bridge and away has been effective against Man City. At the Bridge, Sterling absolutely cooked him.
Yeah, he cooked Walker. I haven't seen Walker cook like that in a minute.
He cooked him. And then at away, he cooked him again, cut inside and banged one in bottom corner. And like,
He seems to be motivated against his.
It's just,
recent
yeah,
team.
like I would say Sterling. If he's fit, I would play Sterling. I know people don't like him, but I think for this game, I'm looking at up against the opponent, the fact that he plays well against Walker, the fact that when we do get them opportunities to break and get in behind and arriving at the back post, I have a bit more confidence in him putting it in the back of the net, even that sounds crazy, than sometimes I do Mudryk when I watch him. And I think Mudryk's a good finisher. It's just the way that I think we're going to play. And I don't think Mudryk's, even though I think Mudryk's very quick and he can outspeed everyone on the pitch and whatever, I don't know if his mindset, he's like how we're going to play this game is the right, the right in terms of here, if that makes sense, in terms of how he's got his game plan, how it's got to be portrayed in the game. I just think with Sterling, he will know what we need to do against Man City or how we're going to play against Man City because he's been playing against them more frequently. And I think he knows how to be effective in these type of games. It's just my opinion.
I'll be interested to hear what Couch is obviously thinking on this. And maybe he's just away with the child at the moment. But it's a really interesting tactical thing because we play a lot down the right-hand side. And I feel like Nani's been good on the right, but those are against teams that weren't pressing as high and would have us as penned in as City will do. And I feel like having Palmer on the right, where we know him and Gusto have a great link up, that's going to be big, especially with Enzo on that side as well, if he is fit, of course. But on the left, it's just it's an interesting one. Honestly, I would probably start Madueke. I would trust him given the form he's in. I feel like he can do a job there because I've literally seen him do a job there. I know people haven't seen him do a job there because he's not played there for us, but he has played there on the left for the Netherlands.
No, that's not.
You're asking me what you're asking me what Poch will do. Honestly, I reckon Poch will start if Enzo's fit. He will start this lineup, but Chilwell left wing.
Okay. What'd you say?
And again, you guys know my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't think that you're wrong there. Like that's a possibility as well.
That's a great team.
That's a possibility as well. I don't know if I want to try Madueke on the left because again, even in this game, the strength in his game is his dribbling and whatnot, and switching the sides and whatnot, and where his comfort zones are, and then putting him on the left. I don't know. I'd have to.
So who would you play then?
It's a tough one, man. It really is a tough one. I would personally just go with Mudryk, just because he's been playing a little bit more the last little while, and I want to see a little bit more partnerships on the pitch, more so than just like, just throw another guy in there, right? I know he hasn't been great. There hasn't been a lot of, moments in the games where you're like, wow, this guy's really on top of things right now. But just for the sake of keeping things, ticking over the same sort of lineups, the same sort of familiarity, I'd go with Mudryk.
Okay, well, we can switch it to Mudryk. Like I said, I wouldn't be annoyed with Mudryk playing. I just think that in how we're going to approach the game and how we're going to want to play it, I think having Sterling arriving at Mudryk could do the same, but having Sterling arriving in them familiar positions, which is his strength to me. I keep saying about the strength of Sterling is kind of this whole getting in behind and arriving in the box and just being there, if that makes sense, and scoring. You know what I mean? And he's done it. He's done it against Man City already. But Mudryk, if Mudryk plays, I want him to be involved. I don't know. I don't know if sometimes Mudryk. Sometimes I feel like Mudryk just switches off. Like, he just seems to just cruise in the game when I know there's so much talent and we need to get him on the ball and we know he can be so effective running in behind. And I'd actually like to see him against Walker on the run, pace-wise. I think that would be quite interesting to watch. But I don't know. But if we were to go to a 4-2-3-1, which is more like... No, yeah.
That was a 4-2-3-1.
Sorry, 4-2. What was we going to do next? Not a 4-3-3.
Well, we were just really looking at a lineup without Enzo.
Yeah, so a lineup without Enzo. Let's say Enzo's not in the team. And let's say...
And again, this is based on fitness, not on form, because I know there's some hipsters out there saying that, oh, Enzo shouldn't start because he won 6-0 without him. For me, that's just that's lunacy, to be honest.
Say Desassi's not available because he's still not 100%, even though he's back in the team. So Badiashil's available, but there's also Chalobah. Now, are we all agreeing that Chalobah plays and not Badiashil? I don't think Badiashil could play this game, could he? Surely not.
No, it has to be Chalobah if you're going to start somebody that's not the Saucy.
Okay. And then you've got Gallagher and Caicedo in this pivot we've seen already. Does Palmer go like that and have the job of dealing with Rodri and then Madueke? Is that what we're saying in here?
Yeah.
So basically the same team?
That would be very attacking. And there's a lot of defensive responsibility for both Modric and Noni against City, you know. And I feel like with how this game plays out, like I would want one of them off the bench as an option. Because let's say Madueke doesn't start on the right. Like I feel him coming on the right, maybe then move Palmer inside in the second half if we need a goal. Like that's a great outlet for us to have. But starting both our outlets against City when we're going to be penned in to start the game, it's a tricky one.
How much
it's
of the
not
ball
even so much
the...
We're not going to have, well, I'd say about 40%, but it's not even going to be about having too much pressure on Madueke, on Modric. It's going to be pressure on Gusto and Cucurella because you're not going to get a lot from the wide areas from Modric and Madueke. And just in terms of being switched on in the game, I'm not talking about like just tracking back and holding shape and whatnot. I'm talking about being switched on in those positions. It's going to be difficult for Cucurella and Gusto if you play with an attacking lineup like that. This guy's
I've seen both of them turn the ball over a lot in dangerous areas. Again, Modric, like not Modric especially is criminal of this, but I've seen Madueke do it against Palace. And I remember he was in good form. In the Palace game, he gave a horrible ball to Caicedo, and then the guy packed out Petrovic from like 30 yards. And like that came from Madueke. And it's like those little moments you cannot afford that against Man City because a KDB, a Foden, like these guys will punish you more than like Rodri. Like they will punish us if we make mistakes.
Yeah, turning it over. And it's like even though Modric to me has improved slightly, you could still tell he's learning. Like he's learning how to do the tactical defensive side of the game. And this is not the game where you want to be learning on the job because these guys will destroy you. Like, you know what I mean? So
well, how were we successful the last time? How were we successful against City last time? And what did we do well in those games?
To me, the 4-4-1, I don't think we were just good with scoring in our attacking phase, but transitionally they could have still scored 7. But to me at the Etihad though, what we did well last game is that we marked Rodri out the game, and the moments that we did win the ball, we were actually dangerous. Like we actually made use of the ball. We didn't give cheap giveaways. Like of course City at times their press is going to force you to give it away, but like a lot of times we did have good chances and good opportunities at goal where we were decisive with the ball and we were threatening.
I do think though that we'd be a lot more effective. This system works for me, but I think if we can listen to play this system against Man City, the back four are going to have one hell of a game. Let's just say that first, because there's going to be a lot of attacking patterns, and Gallagher and Caicedo are really going to have to make sure that they do the defensives correctly in front of them and clean up and stop De Bruyne and say Bernardo Silva sitting in them pocket holes. And that's the one thing I noticed in the Etihad that we've done very well. We stopped them from playing through the middle, which eliminated Alvarez and was it Foden at the time?
And De Bruyne.
De Bruyne playing in them pockets. And so what then City had to do was do that. And once they then done that, we had the confidence in Doku up against Gusto. But Palmer was, if you remember, doing a good job of doubling up as well. So we ended up winning the balls back quicker because we forced them into the wide positions. And once we then won, we had the outlay of Jackson being able to spin in behind and hold the ball and, you know, carry the ball up well. And then Sterling arriving from the left and just trying to make sure he basically out sprints Walker into the box. And that's all we were doing. It was just very effective. We just stopped them from playing through the middle. When you start letting them play through the middle and their little playmakers start getting the ball and turning, and you're in trouble because they're just going to ping balls into Haaland. He's going to find space, and then you're going to be in trouble. It's about forcing them out wide. I think the more we force them out wide and stop them from playing them little intricate passes in the middle and then cutting through our defense, the better a chance we've got of actually hurting this Man City.
And that's why I don't want to play that.
Yeah.
I mean, normally if you watch our games, we do kind of defend in like a 3-5-2 shape sometimes 4-4-2.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go a 5 at the back first. I don't want to. The reason why I don't want to show too much respect to City at first and have them, I don't want them to get in the rhythm, because once City start getting in the rhythm, then we become difficult to play our game, and then we sit back, and then us getting going is hard. You know what I mean?
Yes, you're not wrong. I just think that what we're thinking about here is that we're not going to be able to play the style of football that you want to play in the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1 anyways without Enzo. This is all mitigated. If Enzo plays, then obviously you want to take away the middle. But like, if you have to play Gallagher as a 6, and then you have to play Cole Palmer, who's kind of like trying to sit on Rodri, I don't think that's as effective as just playing with a dedicated defender in a libero role, like free to just kind of like roam and destroy and whatnot. Like, I would much rather that in this particular setup, right?
So if Enzo ain't fit, Couch, what about Carney playing in the 10 and Palmer on the right and playing that?
He just hasn't been used that way, right? Like, again, like we haven't seen him from the start for so long. I would have liked to have seen him play and have some sort of like connection and cohesion with the squad before you throw him in, semi-final FA Cup. Here's your start. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me to do that.
Poch hasn't trusted him at all.
Yo, that's crazy though. Like, I'm thinking of hearing you guys talk. I'm like, we really struggle for midfield options. Like, Enzo is down, and
this is what I'm saying. Like, there's no Leslie, there's no Lavia. Carney's been back for a little while, but we've not really seen him start. He's only been getting 5 minutes here, 20, maybe 15 minutes there. Like, but that's it. So we're really stuck for options, which is why I look at the back 5, because again, not that I want to just defend the whole game, but we've seen how Arsenal were effective going to City and basically playing with a back 6, because Jesus and Saka, who were on the wings, were literally for most of the game playing as like a back 6. They were so connected to the back 4, and that back 4 was just literally 4 centre backs. Real Madrid again, or in the midweek, first 20-30 minutes they were having a bit of a go, trying to play out a bit more in a bit more expansive, but then after that they again didn't have a shot on target because they spent most of it just defending. And to be fair, they did nullify City pretty well.
It worked
because the only big chance which they created was the KDB one, which he missed and he put over the bar. But other than that, the goal comes from a mistake, and a lot of it was just long shots.
What did they do so well in the second half, though, if you notice, in terms of defence? It wasn't just put everyone back and whatever. It's tactically how they defended. If you watch what they did, they just packed the midfield out. Again, they couldn't play through the middle. Every time Foden tried to drop in or De Bruyne, it ended up forcing them to go out wider because they just wasn't getting any joy. And like I said, I don't think City are as effective when you force them out wide. And I know Doku's got the sometimes the beating of players and he can be a problem and whatever, but I'd rather see De Bruyne pulled out wide than being in the middle of the defence and midfield receiving balls and then turning around either hitting one or, playing the ball over the top to Haaland, who's pulling away from whoever's playing off the back of, whatever. But these are the things I think it's all these intricate things that you really have to get right when you play City, for me, because otherwise they'll just play you off the park. You need to be very drilled and understand what you're doing, and it needs the right personnel. And you're right, if we don't have Enzo, that shape is going to be a lot harder in midfield to carry in how we want to play. However, if we still don't have him, I still expect Gallagher and Caicedo to make sure, and the defence, Silva talking a lot with Chalobah, make sure the gap between them from where they are to the defence is not big. Like when we haven't got the ball, make sure you still have your 2 pivots sitting in that back pocket where it's very narrow. They can't feel, they can't get the ball. You're always looking behind you and they're sort of trying to have to go like that rather than sitting behind you here. Do you know what I mean? Like, make it hard for him. Palmer's going to have to drop in. He's going to have to drop in, Palmer. He's not going to be able to just hold up there if he's playing in the 10. He's going to have to occupy Rodri. He's going to have to. That's his job.
I don't think that he will. I still think, and this is the problem that I have with this shape right now, I don't think that you're going to put Palmer to sit on Rodri. I think it's still going to be Gallagher's responsibility. It's just now how do you compensate for the space that's going to be left with him going there, right? And then I guess you're going to drop Caicedo in the middle as the deepest between the two of them, between Gallagher and Palmer, and then hope that he's having a great game, because I don't see without Enzo, I don't see any way else to play this game Like I would rather have like the actual pivot, the double pivot, and then have Gallagher just sit on ends on Rodri. But we're not gonna have that. That's what I'm saying. We don't have that, right?
Yeah,
so I think it's gonna be. I think it's going to be like the inverted triangle with Caicedo sitting the deepest in between, Palmer and Gallagher, with each of them having the license to get forward, right?
Well, you think it's going to be more like that with them on the sides?
Yeah.
So you're going more 4-3-3 now, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You're
going more like that.
That's crazy, man.
Well, what else is what's?
No, I'm not. I'm saying crazy in my head of like. This is where like we're thinking about these solutions, and I think this is where I've like my sticking point on Poch. Like this is where you get paid to find solutions. When you don't have Enzo, like the manager has to find solutions in these type of situations. Because right now I'm like, damn, y'all three at the back, like I'm like we may have to. Y'all made a point. I personally don't want to do it, but y'all make a good point as to where, like if we don't have Enzo. Like, who really is the best option to play that Gallagher role on Rodri? You know what I mean?
The one thing I would say that we do have a lot in the midfield is legs. That both of them are going to run. They're going to run. Caicedo.
Exactly.
So utilize to their strengths is what I'm saying. Try and work a way where Caicedo and Gallagher's very effective as just the pivot without Enzo. Make it work. Like use their energy.
I mean,
make sure they shut down in the spaces.
For me, it's not even about the actual shape 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. It's not about that. It's the assignment that you give the players. And then if Gallagher is still sitting on Rodri, how do you manipulate the other two so you're not like there's balance and you're not like exposed in the middle, right?
And that's what I'm not the only one.
Right. So obviously you don't want Palmer dropping too deep, right? You don't want to see that. So how do you manipulate the space so that you have, I honestly, there's no real way to do it. I just think that Caicedo is going to have a blinder. You really will have to have a blinder in this one.
Yeah, I think they're both going to have a blinder between them. I think they're going to have to work their socks off in midfield, really, and truly. And we're just going to have to be very effective on the attack. So whoever it is the 3 or the 4 that are playing up front. If Caicedo and Gallagher in defence manage to contain what's coming at them, they've got to be as equally as effective. Everything has to work. It all has to work for us to win this game. And we can hurt them because it's not like they're not good defensively. They're just not. They play very high. They're confident in playing the high block. They did it against us a number of times, and Jackson spun them, got in behind. We saw Sterling's goal at the Etihad, where we were sharp and got behind. He played the ball across. Sterling was free, cuts inside, bang. Like, we're going to get chances. One thing for sure that I know we will have is chances in these games. It's just how effective can our attackers be in taking them, So defend properly and attack properly is probably the key here. And each player is going to have to play to their strengths, like literally to their strengths.
Just a big thing on that, maybe before we get into like actual predictions, like just looking at it from a Man City point of view, like you're right, like there will be space in transition. Cannot say that they're bad defenders, but they just leave a lot of space in behind because of how much they like to overload the midfield and then also the attack. Because again, I don't know of another team in world football that has their centre back starts as a centre back, but then he will end up in a number 10 position a lot in Akanji. Because he's been doing that John Stones role a lot this season. I don't think he was great at it at the start or middle of the season. And I think he even played against us at the Bridge. And I don't think he had the greatest game. I know he scored from a set piece, but I don't think he had the greatest game. But of recent, Akanji has been one of their best players. And not just defensively, but in that role, he was amazing against Madrid. He might have been their best player, actually. Now, thinking about it, because he was the one creating a lot of big chances, but the way that he was able to try and get through the midfield and picking the right moments to then make the underlaps, and then he was the one receiving the balls from the likes of Doku or Bernardo Silva in behind to then cut it back. He was having a great game, and we're going to need our players on point to track his runs. But of course, if they make mistakes, then we can obviously get them in behind, get them in the back line, because they're only going to have Diaz there, maybe Walker, and potentially their left back, whether it's Ake or Gvardiol. So we're going to have to try and pounce on those moments.
And I agree. And I think the one thing we need to forget about at the moment is Christopher and Nkunku this season, guys. I know it's a bit exciting.
I would just shut him down for the season, honestly.
We shouldn't really be. It's on Chelsea FC, so I need to have a look at this. Let's have a quick look.
It's the latest injury update news.
We've got an injury update here for Enzo. Enzo has returned to full training.
Man, look,
Oh, he's playing. There you go. He's back.
That's good.
He's
Good
back,
news.
guys.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think he
that-
loves. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
can't
I'm
go
being
that.
I mean, listen, even if he's like only 70, 80%, he's going to probably start because this is the kind of game where you just start a guy like Enzo. He's important to the team and how we play.
yeah, and like just
yeah,
for his
you're
confidence,
going to
too,
have to
right?
bring it back in and just hope he can see out the 90 minutes or how long we need him for.
Nah, Josh. The reason why I said I would love to see Nkunku play, but I think it maybe with the games we have left, by the time he comes back, we're already in our second to last game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Might as
No,
well
I just think that he has, for his confidence and like the work that he's been putting in off the pitch, you have to want to see him back. Like again,
yeah. I'm not
it's an
saying
emotional
completely
lift.
shut him out, but like I don't think the level of impact you're looking for in Nkunku is going to be here this season. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
Yeah,
of course
I
not.
agree.
In terms of like return, but like in terms of you got to play him if he comes back because you know
I
he's
think
been
Nkunku-
working for these moments. Of course, he's been working for
5
those moments, right?
5 minutes
Yeah, I
ago,
don't
we've
know.
had an
To me,
injury.
I've shut them down.
5 minutes ago, we've had an injury update. Just put on the Chelsea website. Chelsea's injury update ahead of Man City. Enzo Fernandez is not on there.
That
which
list
means
getting shorter.
he is available, and it is getting shorter. So Nkunku is now in partial team training along with Sanchez. Colwill was still undergoing his rehabilitation along with Wesley Fofana, Reece James, Lavia, and Leslie, and it is getting smaller. But for Enzo Fernandez is not on that list, guys. So for him to not be on that list means he is available tomorrow.
Wait, what does
So
it say on Sterling?
He's available.
Sterling's available as well.
Sorry, can you put up if you can you pull up the list again?
Did he say anything about Sterling? Did it?
He's available, man.
People are saying he's in full training,
Nah,
but I
I'm
mean,
not. It's
when
not
was
just
he
Sterling.
injured?
I
Though?
want to see like other people as well. I mean, I'll just look at it myself.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing about Sterling.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying people were saying in the chat that Sterling's in full training, but it's like, wasn't he always available though? He wasn't like out for like any injury or anything.
I've got some interesting news for you about Man City. Erling Haaland has a muscular issue, so it's a doubt.
That's why he came out.
He might not be playing tomorrow, but De Bruyne is fine. Is what
That's good news for them, to be honest. Like Haaland recently, they haven't been playing to his strengths much. He hasn't been doing that great anyways himself in his game. So like, Alvarez starting as a striker rather than midfielder, like that's not going to be like a massive downgrade, to be honest.
I beg to differ. Like even that last game at Etihad, like I thought that Haaland had a couple gilt edge opportunities where you should have buried. Like I'm talking like open headers.
Yeah,
he should normally takes those. Like
that's my point. That he missed big chances.
Oh yeah,
but he might make one against us, you know.
Yeah, but I think there's also a good chance that Alvarez might take one if he gets a chance. Well, not headers maybe, but like different kind of chances Alvarez can take, and also he impacts the game in a different way that Haaland doesn't do in terms of like maybe linking up or in and around the box, a bit of sharper movement as well in and around the box.
No,
so like, all I'm saying is that obviously Haaland's a great striker. He's a great goal scorer. He's a pretty good finisher, not the most elite finisher you've ever seen in terms of like clinical efficiency. But Alvarez isn't like an all slouch either. He's not a massive downgrade in many aspects, and I think in some aspects he's better than Haaland.
I would say that I would rather face Alvarez than I would rather face Haaland. That's just me. I would rather face Alvarez.
I agree with that.
I'm not going to say you should say otherwise, but I'm just saying that Alvarez in many aspects is actually better than Haaland in my opinion. But that's a different agenda that isn't our problem to
a better
discuss.
Team player, like, but to me, with Haaland is like they could be dead in the game, and De Bruyne could just get the ball and just hit across the Haaland and just score. You know what I mean? But I think Alvarez, they actually have to break us down with a team goal. You know what I'm saying?
I actually think that we could
I hear you, but I'll be honest. Like in the games that we've played against Haaland and Man City, like he's missed a lot of big chances against us. Again, he scored a penalty at the bridge. He scored a tap in the second half as well. Cool, but like even in that game, the 1v1 he had against Sanchez, which Sanchez made a very good save, that didn't hit the side netting in a way that you would expect from the best striker in the world. It didn't. And then again, and at the Etihad, his movement caused Colwill a lot of problems, and he had like 2 or 3 free headers, which on another day should have gone in, but they didn't go in. And we've seen it a lot with Haaland. So that's just my point, that he's a handful, but he also misses a lot of chances. And then obviously in link-up play, hold-up play, he's not elite. He's not.
I mean, the guys at Man City, let's not forget that. Like we understand what Alvarez's danger is. The question you have to ask, because like, are they more dangerous with Alvarez or are they more dangerous with Haaland? I think they're more dangerous with Haaland because that guy is the focal point of the team and he scores a lot of goals. Of course, when you have Alvarez, he makes everyone else dangerous. So it's not just like you're focusing on Haaland. You're looking at him bringing other people into the game. It's not as predictable, so there is that side of it. But to be honest, there's no replacing a clinical goal scorer for me, somebody that can just score goals.
I just think when I look at Silva and Chalobah, for example, playing in the defence tomorrow, I think they would rather deal with Alvarez than they would Haaland, just purely because of his physicality, how he moves in the box. I think Alvarez is a very good player. I think he will, he does score goals for him. I don't think he's as clinical as Haaland is, but what I think is better for us is managing and marking a player. I think that's kind of just scattering around the pitch rather than having someone that is going to just power through behind you and be a problem to deal with physically.
I might actually look online to see like their numbers in terms of like who's got the better shot accuracy this season, because I've seen Haaland miss a lot of chances. He does generate a lot of chances through his movement for sure, but like when people say, "Oh, who's the better finisher?" Haaland's a better finisher. I think he's a better goal scorer based on volume of numbers, but that doesn't also mean.
I feel like Haaland creates a lot of those chances for himself as well.
Yeah, no, and I mentioned that. Of course, he's a handful, like, and especially against Thiago Silva and Chalobah, which would be my back to. Like physicality wise, there could be a situation where they're just ISO. And Haaland wins through being 6'5" and much faster than both of them. So like that could happen for sure. And it would have happened in the same way with Alvarez. So again, we'll see. All I'm saying is that Haaland to Alvarez is not as big a downgrade as some people think out there.
No, it's not a downgrade. But what I'm saying is when you look at how we were going to play tomorrow and the preference I would think would be for Silva and Chalobah would be to deal with Alvarez rather than having to deal with Haaland, having that big physicality, speed, monster in the box sort of like presence all the time. Having to deal with that's not easy. Alvarez will wander around a bit more, and he will, like you said, he'll link play, he'll come out left, he'll do right. He can be effective in the box, but I just think we can mark that a bit better.
Yeah, Jam. Let me phrase it in a way, especially for some people in the chat. So if I'm a defender, I feel like if I have a good game, I could shut out Alvarez more efficiently, because if we're playing well and I defend and I mark Alvarez and I'm doing my due diligence, I can more contain him easily than Haaland, which at any moment can have that burst and could overpower me at any moment in the game. You know what I mean? Even if he's having a bad game. I feel like players like Alvarez, he kind of has to he's a good finisher. Like I think he's a top striker, but at any moment, Haaland could be down and then he could just boom.
But I think Josh, the instruction tomorrow for Alvarez, if he's playing the striker, won't be the one that's always moving around. Yeah. I think he will do that in patches with De Bruyne and drop in, and like De Bruyne will try and run in behind. They'll try and do that with him. But I think his job tomorrow will be more of trying to hold his position. And I think if you're Thiago Silva and Chalobah dealing with him and his physicality, balls coming in and stuff, they're going to be able to contain or deal with that a lot better than someone that's just a blimmin' unit. And all they have to do is put a good ball in and he just gets his head on it or saying, do you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, goodness sake. Like, it's more about how we can defend better, I think. But listen, they're both good players, top quality players. I just think I'd prefer Alvarez than up against Haaland. But like score predictions, guys, let us know. I mean, ads, what we saying? Score predictions, semis, we need to tie it up.
Listen, bro, it's not easy. Like, okay, let me put it like this, right? If it was before the Man United game, I would have given us like a 2% chance of winning, because we just hadn't beat any big team in a big game that had more than 9 players on the pitch. Like, we just hadn't done it. And even though for as bad as United were, at least we got over the line against them. Even though it was their mistake giving away the penalty, and we needed some Cole Palmer magic from obviously them also sleeping at the corner. Like, but we got it done. And that's what big games are all about. It's just about getting over the line. But we haven't done it enough for me to go into this game and be confident and say that, oh, because we're Chelsea, we can make a moment happen like we did in the Champions League final against City, where we were also massive underdogs. It's just difficult for me to pick us to beat them, knowing that it's Pep Guardiola, it's at Wembley. I forget even our record. I just look at it as Pochettino versus Pep Guardiola. It's Pochettino. Am I going to be saying on Sunday morning that, wow, Poch got one over Pep Guardiola at Wembley? Am I going to be saying that? I just don't feel like I will be, to be honest.
It wouldn't be the first time he got one over on him, just to put it out there.
But which big games has he done it? And obviously, don't get me wrong, like Tottenham versus City in the league, it's still technically a big game, of course, but like
Championship.
He hasn't. But like, so you know what he did in the 2 legs he did. Although again, the VAR madness of that game, Sterling's hat trick and whatnot, it was crazy. But you know what? To be fair, he did. No. I'm saying it. I mean, it was a mad game. It was a crazy game, but he did it. He did it. So that boosts it a little bit. So I will say, you know what? That's good to hear. That is good to hear. But like,
he should have actually had a W at the Etihad if he didn't make as many substitutions as he did, which made us so defensive. And
But again, this is my thing though. Like
this
that's
another thing that I don't like about.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the nail on the head
Yeah.
because it's not just against Pep Guardiola. We've seen it constantly throughout the season where Poch, when we need him to make a change, or we see that the game's getting away from us, he's late to either change things tactically or he just gets it wrong. And we've seen it a lot. And it's like in games like this, you need a manager who's going to get more decisions right than wrong, and you also need your players to turn up in big games. So this isn't just about Poch. This is about the players turning up and showing that individual quality to go and win you a game, whether that's going to be Cole Palmer or somebody else. We need that. And then we also need the lack of mistakes at the back because we're going to be pressured. We're going to need a lot of good concentration and also good defensive actions to see us through. So it's a tough one, man. I mean, if I'm honest, I'm going to predict us to lose 2-1. I expect it to be a tight game. I expect it to be competitive, but I'm going to predict that. And I'm going to hope, like I always do, that the boys prove me wrong. And listen, on the day, I'll be there waving my scarf. I'll be excited. I'll be probably feeling a bit different about the prediction, right? I'll probably predict 3-0 or something because I'll be in the moment. But for right now, I'm going to just hope that the boys prove me wrong.
We'll see. Xavi.
I'm going to be positive, man, for once. 2-1 to Chelsea. Let's go.
Go on. Let's go.
Let's see if we have a change of fortune.
Couch.
I don't do predictions, but I expect it to be a good game, and I expect it to not go as many people think it will. I think ultimately the game is going to be, it's not going to be end to end. It's not going to be one of those games. It's going to be very tactical, slow build up, and hopefully we can nick it, but just got to take the few opportunities that you have, and we've been better at that lately.
Politician, though.
That's how I do it, man. You don't know.
Can I just say though, like we have to start the game better than we did against Liverpool, because at Wembley, like we were lucky to even still be level at halftime because we started so poorly. They looked so nervous, and again, that's a shoot of confidence for me because we can't start that badly again. Like these young players are going to learn from that and hopefully start with just a better intensity, a better attitude. And listen, there's an opportunity to do something against City. Again, we have the extra 2 days recovery. So they only have 2 days recovery from the midweek game, which went 120 minutes. They went out. There's all of that going on. Haaland's now injured. Like there's these things going on which work in our favor, which give us a chance. So again, I'm just hoping that the boys can do it, because if we get to the final against United or Coventry, that's a really big chance to save the season and make the season.
Yeah, let's not do this. But yo, Poch literally did say a lot of players couldn't sleep that night before. It kind of makes sense why we started the game like that.
Exactly.
These guys are nervous.
I'm going to go with a positive result tomorrow. I always
3-0, yeah?
I'm going to go with a 2-0 Chelsea. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to score semi-early, sit back and take a lot, and then in the second half we'll get another one. And it's
Pause, bro.
2-0. 2-0. And I'm going to go with a Jackson.
No Diddy on that. That was crazy.
Why?
Jackson to score one of the goals. And I'm also going to go with a goal for...
Can only be one name, man.
Thiago Silva, corner.
Well, not Cole Palmer, no? Not dunking on his former team.
Cole Palmer's going to assist Jackson. Jackson on the break. Watch. It's coming.
Listen, all I'll say is if Cole Palmer dunks on City and outperforms Foden at Wembley, conversations will be had.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like a Thiago Silva banger's coming. I don't know why. Like one of the ones where he just rides at the near post and yeah.
He did score at the bridge against them like that.
Yep, that's the reason why. That's the main reason why I want to start him as well, because he's a goal threat, man.
He's the only goal threat. They're so crappy. I mean, Disassi a little bit, but like the rest of our defenders are shocking in the box when I watch them. So bad. It's ridiculous. But anyway, guys, I do need to dip. This has been a great first show back on both channels. Make sure you smash a like. Leave a comment below as well, guys. We want to know what your score predictions are for the game. And like I said, you're going to get a lot more consistent shows on. We'll be doing a match reaction to this as well on Sunday at 1 o'clock. I've been told, Sunday lunchtime. So you'll see us then. And then we've got the big match preview for the Arsenal game, which will probably be the day after. So you're going to get 2 shows back to back at the same times, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, guys. So you've won it. We're giving it to you. We're back. We're back and we're in full steam ahead, man. So big up to everyone in the chat as always, guys. Lots of football for Chelsea the next 5 days. Man City first, Arsenal away. We could beat Man City and then Arsenal's chance of winning a Premier League title. Can you imagine that? Yeah.
We can't have nice things. Let's be silly. Don't be silly. We can't have nice things.
We can't have nice things. We're probably going to lose both. No, I'm joking. Anyway, let's see what happens, guys. Big love. See you later. Take care. Enjoy your Friday, guys. Yeah, and big up the panel as well. Couch ads.
Big up, man. Love.
Big up, big up.
Peace.